Hey internet, welcome back to Video Game Therapy. Today's, I don't know, more somber one in some sense. I don't really know. I just wanted to talk my thoughts out as opposed to being left alone with them, you know what I mean? Um, I find that I have a tendency to rationalize everything, which I'm imagining is not unique to me. I need to rationalize why I'm doing something or the way I'm doing something, right? Everything needs to be so systematic. I've known this for a while, and it's kind of like it's not how I survive, but it's how I survive. It's how I do things, I guess. And can I kiss this? Oh, beautiful. Um, it's just head plant somewhere. Okay, I don't know why I just got an achievement. Um, and uh, there's something I started a couple months ago, and I just don't. I don't see myself continuing. 100 meters, double backflip. It's easy with my. Um, and it's like it's just been. I mean, it's school. It's part time school. Um, and I think I guess part of me is struggling with the notion of quitting, um, which when I find myself under stress like this, I take it as a something that's happening for me. All right. Hopefully, I remember to cut that out. um, I don't know. I've kind of spoken a bit in the past about how I don't really know what I want to do exactly. At least I think I have. But TLDR, it's kind of like I try a bunch of things, and if they slightly pique my interest, it's like I'll try them out. And there comes a point with all of those kinds of things where you have to ask yourself, am I doing this because I enjoy it or am I doing this just to do it? Just check a box. Best example I can think of is when I did Japanese. I said, okay, like I'm finding it hard to study, but let me self study for the N5 and take an online N5 exam. And once I get there, I can quit if I really didn't enjoy it. And once I got there, I said, you know what, this wasn't that bad. Let me go take an exam in December. And honestly, just returning to school sucks. The class is great material. I enjoy learning about it. I don't enjoy having homework. Oh, look, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna suck it up for the rest of the quarter, right? Please don't misconstrue anything I say being, you know, oh, boo-hoo. I got into a master's program and now I don't like it. Wah. It's not that I'm doing terribly in the class either. My average is great. But I just don't like it. That is, excuse me. Like, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this? And I, I don't know. All the original reasons for applying and doing it, it was just on a whim. When I applied, I filled out all the application except my statement of purpose on a whim. I don't know if I needed to prove something to myself or what, but getting a master's in what computational linguistics right now is not something that it'll open doors in the future, and it will definitely be something in the long run, but it's nothing I can see right now. And if I can't visualize a future with something, it bugs the absolute crap out of me. And that's kind of the crux of this whole thing. Um, I'd much rather do a lot of different things with my time. And hey, before I had that time, right? And at the moment, I don't have that time. Um, because I found I can make it for class, and I need to find some way to forego my reliance on external deadlines. Tackle why I've been effective at working. Sounds a weird thing, but like there's no external deadlines there. You just kind of always got to do work. It's like my main priority, so to speak. And I think I can dig into that more on my own, but I think I'm kind of discovering this whole notion of following your heart. It's like I'm writing out this long ass I'll call it a document, a journal entry, whatever, about permission to quit the masters, and I just while I'm writing it, it feels ridiculous. I've spoken to a few people about it, and I'm in a super fortunate position in which not doing it does not make a difference. When I was in undergrad, like, you learn shit in school. It's not just what you're doing, but problem solving. How do you work with bad group members? How do you deal with being a bad group member? How do you deal with having to do a class you might not have any interest in? Right? You have to you learn these things, and I think for that reason, college is valuable. Not worth the U.S. college prices, but that's a different story. But being in this master's program, it just feels like I'm back in undergrad, and I don't want that, and I'm not getting a lot of what I wanted to get out of this. A friend of mine said it's not, you know, you have to measure success against quality of life. He said happiness, but that's a far fetched term for me at the moment. So I'm going to call it quality of life. And I don't know. It sucks that I feel like I don't know. I needed those external deadlines to do shit, but maybe I'm just procrastinating the assignment. Maybe if I didn't procrastinate, I wouldn't feel so miserable. It's probably true. I just I guess there's a part of me that's also kind of like, a part of what my heart is saying, we'll put it that way, is like, I don't identify with math, being a master's student, if that makes sense. Having that be a part of my identity is not something I relate with at the moment, nor is it something I feel like is a valid part of my identity, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not really a threat to my identity. Sure as hell sounds great on paper, but it's like, I've been asking myself a lot recently in various perspectives, like, who am I? Like, what defines who I am? Which version of myself is the closest to what answers who am I? Or do I have to take a bunch of different versions of myself, right, and do that? Um, and, sometimes following your heart is kind of obvious and you don't really think about it. I was talking with someone the other day about urban planning. It just short conversation. And there was a part of me that kind of realized, I like to say that I do a lot of things and I try a lot of different things. And it's very, very true, admittedly. But I mean, urban planning is not one of the things I would try. Um, it just isn't. It's just not on that list of, you know, I want to try this, give it a shot. Philosophy's on that list, linguistics is on that list, the software engineering is on that list. But there are so many things that just aren't on that list. If I have to go into a business class, I'm gonna hate it. And sometimes you start something and you find out your heart doesn't want to go here. Maybe you find out where it does want to go, um, which in and of itself is a fascinating little conundrum that I guess I'm exploring. Because I'm doing this master's program and I don't feel like it contributes to my work at all. I think eventually it would make me be a better worker, but I don't really see myself going into NLP in the future. I think one of my motivations was returning to linguistic academia, and two things is one, I could have just done that on my own. Open courses are a massively popular thing these days. My classes, the lectures aren't publicly available, but the syllabus and course materials for the most part are. And the second thing I realized is that I took a graduate linguistics class in undergrad toward the end. My last semester, I took two graduate linguistics courses. Um, and I enjoyed the problem sets to some degree, But at the end, we had this paper to write, and I just hated doing it. Like, I did it, and it was a much different perspective because I was like, I mean, yeah, I have to do this, but I worked on it, and I, did it because it's part of the class, and I was much better. I had a reason to complete it, right? Whether it's like if I don't complete this class, I don't have credits to graduate. That was never, going to be an option really. I had plenty of self discipline to get it done. That was an occasion in which there was no consideration of I'm just not going to do this paper. But what I'm realizing now, and in hindsight, like I'm really proud of myself for doing that because I could have taken another relatively easy class, but I went with a really hard direction. Um, but academia just probably isn't for me, and I'm like, great, I'm learning that now, and it's at the cost of a few $1,000s in 3 months of my life, but it's 6 to 10 hours a week, maybe, and it's a small price to pay for this realization, but my heart just isn't in it, and I think I'm just lucky, fortunate enough to say, yeah, my heart isn't in it, so I'm not going to do it. It's kind of where I'm at. Um, I thought a lot of this is going to be me objectively justifying things again, but um, I don't know. I don't know what it really means to follow your heart, but this is an example of my heart is not yearning for this. My heart yearns for the mines, just not these mines. If I'm going to hate work, I'd rather it be toward a goal that feels like it's going to be worth something. Making a game. I've had plenty of time to work on the game before and make time for it, and yet no external deadlines have yielded the inability to do so. So obviously I have some work to do there. I realize there's no desktop audio again. This is annoying. Let's go ahead and fix that. Sorry about that. The mic is also muted, but good thing I have Audacity going. Um, there's that. It's like the end result of having a master's will likely do nothing. Nothing that I can envision, at least. Sure, I might make great connections and I might make a great impact, but at the end of the day, you do a thesis, a project, or an internship. I can't see myself switching my jobs right now, so doing an internship in the next 2 years is, not part of it. I'm in a very different position. Not too different from some people, but I'm in a different position. The opportunities I'm looking to open up can be opened up within my current job, not with a degree. I'd much rather look back and say, yeah, I spent this time making a game that's not finished, than say I did it towards a degree. Which is a very weird thing to say. That's assuming I'm going to put time into this game, yet still not finish it somehow. Please don't. Please don't. My brother in Christ. Thank you. Oh, I didn't make the jump because I jumped. Oh well. That's an important realization. I think it's a really important realization, actually. And obviously that's going to change in the future, but right now I see the master's as nothing more than a byline on my resume. Also, at the end of the program, if I were to do the project option, why can't I just do the project now? I hated the first time I had to write a partial thesis for my grad class. That's not my first option. I love projects, but oh wait, why do I need to pay $10,000 just to do a project that I could probably start now? Sure, I'll have a much better exposure and background knowledge, and I understand there's usefulness to this master's, but again, it really comes down. And another thing I've been asking myself that I was about to say comes down to is identity. I kind of touched upon it, but it's occurred to me lately that you can live life and do things goal-oriented and focused around those specific goals, which is how I've been living my life. And then there's this more abstract notion. I'm not quite sure how to put it. I don't want to say habit-oriented, but I think it's occurred to me because of all this where the degree, I don't want to be a student again. Sure, I miss the academia side of things just because I really enjoyed the environment that I had in undergrad with linguistics specifically. Maybe that's what I miss, right? But I don't need that for a lot of reasons. But being a student, you know, getting a degree, great goal. Being a student in the current time, Making a game, great goal. Being a game developer designer in my off hours, great identity. For me, at least. Being an urban planner in my off hours, not such a great identity. No. Going into social work, I could see that as being a part of my identity. Being a teacher, I could also see that as being a part of my identity. And ultimately, I want to end up at a point where I can teach. You know, pivot away from software engineering and teach. To me, that's the value of AQ's becoming a mentor at some point. But right now, just looking back and having a master's, I just don't. I can do what I want to do and not have to be in school for it. You know? And following my heart, seeing what I most closely align with. I don't know, I may not know what I want exactly to do. And you know what? Maybe I'll start working on a game way more seriously and find this sucks, but maybe I will. But the thing is, I haven't gotten deep enough to make it to that point yet. Maybe I'm afraid to make it to that point, you know? I've been kind of wondering, maybe am I afraid of failure? I think failure is crucial. But anyway. Following your heart, it might not always be right. You find these things out. And I'm lucky that, I can, have this conversation with myself. It's an option. There are no wrong choices here. I'm gonna have to buckle down, finish this class. I have every intention of finishing it and finishing it strongly. I do not want to withdraw. It feels lame. But I guess in some way what it really comes down to is that for so long, I guess, I've said there are things I want to try and do. Software engineering was always one of those things. And game development and design has always been one of those things. Art has always been one of those things. Martial arts has always been one of those things. Masters was never one of those things. There was a time in undergrad where I thought maybe I could pursue linguistic academia, but the workaround felt better. And maybe I just wanted to make sure, this master's thing came up and wanted to give it a shot. This incredible opportunity I was given at least, and kind of gave myself. I had to put in the work to get here. Economically, it would pay off, but it's just following your heart. I'm trying to find that thing that really makes my heart sing. But this definitely isn't it. Anyway, that's me. Enough of me whining. I'm in a somewhat weird position. It's obviously a very lucky position, but yeah, I'm gonna stop whining and be good to my actual homework. Thanks for listening and or watching. I hope to see you in the next one.